1, 2, check. Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream. This is the first one of 2023. I see we have several people already in the chat, so thank you first of all for all hanging out. Let me know if things sound okay. My MacBook is a little noisy and I completely changed up my desk setup, so you might be able to hear it. If so, let me know, and if it's really bad, then I'll have to figure out something different. But we've got Brandon, good to see you, Brandon, as always. Carlson, Wouter, good to see you, dude. Will, Toru, Dean Home 1, Ian, Camille, what's up, Camille, and more. Parker, good to see you, boss, and others. So thanks, everyone, for hanging out. We're going to dive into everyone's questions. So if you have one, go ahead and drop it in the chat, and we'll start tearing that stuff up. Good to see you guys, by the way. I hope you all have a wonderful end of the year and a good start to 2023. I'm very excited to dive in. I see lots of people, some new faces, which is fantastic. So let's see. I'm going to just start driving in. This is episode 31 or 2. I should probably know the title of this. Let's actually check. Of the video production helpline. This is episode 32. So if you're new, the way we do this is drop a question. I'll do my best to answer all of them, and we'll just dive straight in. So I see here, Toro says there's a lot of discussion going on here in Japan, the combination of the S5 II, MC21, and EF glasses with autofocus continuous. Yes, I have done a little testing, not much. My camera is actually right behind me on that bench, and I'm waiting for Panasonic to give me a return label so I can ship it away. But I might grab some Canon glass before that happens, and maybe we'll just see how it works. I played with a 70-200 on it the other day because someone on Twitter was asking, and it worked pretty good with that Sigma adapter. So I think it's going to be it could be a really interesting option for Canon shooters who might be tired of Canon for whatever reason and wanted to try Panasonic for whatever reason. All right, next question from Camille. You're using the MKH416 as a microphone. That's exactly what you're hearing right now. Have you tried the Sheps MK641? Why did I choose the 416? I have not tried those. I've also not tried the MKH50. At the time, I don't think it was out, or I just didn't know about it. So I just went with the 416 because I tried it against, 12 other microphones. I've done a video on this on my channel, and it's the one I like the most. So that's the answer there. Not that the other ones are bad. What else we got? What's up, David? Good to see you. Middle of Europe. Here's an interesting one. Malad. Halo Caleb, wondering if you're going to make a new Perfect Rig video with updates to the old video anytime soon. Absolutely. I actually have one. Not the next video, but probably the one after that. And we're going to be using the FX30 as the camera for that video. But the rig I'm going to build will work for any camera. And I'm really excited about it because it's very versatile. It's taking not a minimal route, but a little more minimal than the last one. So it'll kind of be an alternative. I still love that setup from the original video. But yeah, I'm hoping to do at least a couple rig videos here toward the beginning of the year. All right, what else we got? Welcome, Lucky Camera Straps. Nate, good to see you, boss. How's it going? Greetings, Great Breeze. Caleb, would you prefer the DJI mic or the Rode Wireless Go 2 or something entirely else? I am still a fan of the Rode Wireless Go's. I think they're more versatile from a signal. They're just more sensitive, and you can just do more with them than the DJI mic. So I bought the DJI mic. I love everything about it. In every way, it is superior to Rode stuff, with exception to build quality. and it's just not very sensitive. So if you're not going to have the microphone in the perfect position, if you have a little further away or connect another mic, it doesn't quite work as well. That said, baller first move from DJI. Got some birdie questions. Hit me, Husky. All right, what else we have? Sounds looks great. Good, good, good. Okay, good, good. What's up, Sky? Good to see you. That intro has terrible battery life. I'll work on that. Do you have an experience with these ZG Cine V-mount batteries? I do not, but they look very similar to a lot of the other kind of mini batteries out there, so I don't think you'll have any problems with those. But, you know, I haven't tried it myself. What are you using to shoot? So this is the A7 IV with the Sony 3518. I should probably update the information in the description, which I believe is still my old setup, which was a Canon RP with Canon's RF 35mm 1.8. Hey Caleb, saw your GH5 camera rig with a battery grip. I was wondering if you needed lens support with a speed booster. I mean, you might, depending on what lens you're putting on there. And I think there's built-in support, or you can have built-in support with that. Shooting VR now and audio and a mic, and I need a mic on each side of the camera. Can you think of a great affordable mics that will act as human ears in POV? Wow, that's interesting. Human ears, I mean, you could do stereo, use a stereo microphone. Rode makes several stereo mics. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, there's so many microphones these days. I like the Go's, the new Go 2s. But obviously, if you're looking for something a little more high quality, check out that video I did on shotgun microphones, because I covered a ton, and all have their pros and cons, right? So this one's pretty sensitive, but there's one from Rode. I think it's the NTG, just the Rode NTG, I think. Or NTG5, I don't remember what it was, but it's incredibly sensitive. So if you need that, that's a good microphone to go with. Hey, really thinking about getting into 3D printing. Awesome, Ian. However, have no clue where to start. What's a good budget to get things rolling? So if you just want a printer that will just work, period, and be a workhorse, you're looking at around $1,000. And I use Prusa printers. Pretty much no issues with them. They're great. There's a new brand called Bandu, I think. Bandu. They are actually, hilariously, they're from DJI. They're engineers from DJI that started their own 3D printing company. But it's all Kickstarter-y stuff now. But that could be a really good option. There's a lot more automation. They're more sophisticated machines. Otherwise, you know, a couple $100, you can get an Ender. Just search Ender 3 on YouTube, and you'll find thousands, if not millions, of videos of people modding them and doing stuff with them. They're really cheap, couple $100, and you can get off to the races. For the software, I like to use Prusa Slicer. Has been really, really solid, and that's how I slice, the software that takes a model and converts it into printer technology, or printer language, if you will. Really simple, really powerful, also free. And then finally, if you're going to get into modeling and you don't have any experience, check out Tinkercad, like you're tinkering, Tinker CAD. It's made by Autodesk, and you can click and drag. You can design incredibly complex things without having any modeling experience. And then if you really want to go for it, I use Fusion 360 to model all the stuff that I'm currently selling, which, by the way, to pay some bills, I forgot to do this at the top of the show. Thank you guys for the support. I don't do sponsors, so I try to monetize my content with either affiliate links, which are in the description, as well as selling camera guides and LUTs. So academy.dslrvideoshooter.com is where you will find, whoops, we got Ian's comment. Let's get that out of there. Where you'll find my guides. So we've got one for several different cameras. We also have our LUTs. So if you want to check those out, there's a lot of good stuff over there. And that's how I keep, from having to say this video is brought to you by, and spend a minute talking about some other company. Right, so there's the 3D printing bit. What else we have in here? What's up, Kevin? Good to see you, boss. Mad Adventures, welcome, welcome. Husky Arts, Okay, I've been meaning to ask. I always see white spray painted equipment in your videos. What's the deal with that? Are you just spraying completely new equipment? No, they're not new. So I have a red camera that I 3D printed, hilariously, after that last comment. That's white. I've got various old vintage, lights from like Mole Richardson, stuff like that. And it's just something to, spice things up, make an interesting little set design for my videos. Question, Atem Mini was working but fine, but lately the mic ports went insane and now there's noise. Please help. The first thing I would check is, can I do this live? Why not? I think I can do this, yeah. So let's put this over here and let's switch to this camera. Let me get rid of the question. And let's go full screen on my monitor here. Okay, so this is the Atem control software. And if you go to the little gear icon down here, go to audio. Is it general? Oh, this screen is so small. Okay, right here is where you want to pay attention to. See if it needs to be set to line or microphone. So if this setting changes, often you'll have a lot of audio issues. So switching that might be what you need. Just take care of that, because if it's set to line and it's actually a mic input, that's bad. If it's set to a mic input and it's a line level, that's real bad. And you're definitely going to hear sound issues. So that's the deal with that. Let me hide that window and get back to the chat. Any chance you can make a video on the A7R5? Maybe. But, those of you who've been watching for a while know I'm kind of about camera reviews. I'll do them. I'm not saying I'm not going to do them, but, we have people like Gerald Undone, so why would I, review every single thing ever? Canasonic, what's up, Tom? Good to see you. I love that. What's up, Rob? Watching from the UK. Excellence. Using the 416 shotgun for a majority of dialogue. Just invested in MKE1 Lav. Any thoughts on Lavs? I should check that one out, first of all. But in general, I just try to avoid them. I just never am happy with how they sound. I know you can make them sound great, but I just prefer to use shotgun microphones if at all possible. But yeah, lavs are totally fine. It just takes a lot more work to get them sounding good, and hiding them is also kind of tricky. Bought the Atem Shogun 7. Like it for monitoring. Don't use it. But I don't use the recording and switching features. Feels like it's quite specific. Yeah, honestly, those, unless you need to record, I would avoid all the Atem stuff. They make good panels. It's just a lot of monitor and weight and noise, fans and things that you just don't need. So I would go with something else. I love their Shinobi monitors, really lightweight. So that's another option if you just want a good monitor without the recording stuff. Need a recommendation for 3.5 to 1/4 inch with the Atem. I mean, Amazon. Yep, I would say start there. Camille with a £5 donation for the booze. Thank you so much for the donation. Oh, that reminds me. After this stream, thank you so much, Camille. I completely spaced, but this isn't the only stream of the evening. So when we're done here, I'm going to be heading over to the C47, my buddy Jem Schofield's channel, and we're going to do another live stream. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat right now, so you can queue that up in another tab or something like that. So check that out. That's his channel, and the video will be live there here shortly. So we should have a good time. I think we're just going to chat with you guys. So if you want to keep having questions answered, we're going to have something to sip on and just relax. It's going to be a good time. So you can hang out with us over there. What else? What else? All right. Thank you. And thank you so much for the donation, Camille. All right. Bigger sensor, full frame, or 10-bit for video. Both, I think, is reasonable. If you have to choose, it depends on what kind of 10-bit, right? So if you're talking about 8-bit Canon, I'm okay with that. 8-bit Sony is pretty rough. Such a simple setup, 2 cams for 1 mic, the Rode NTG plugged into mic port 1, everything's working great. Then I changed the HDMI cables and now there's a huge white noise. Interesting. Maybe there's some shielding issues going on? Looking at the FX30, what would be your ooh, great question, workhorse lenses if you had to choose? Glenn, next Tuesday I'm releasing a video where it's all about this question. So I got a hold of 21 different lenses specifically for the FX30. So we're gonna get into that hardcore. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So I'm gonna say wait for that video because it depends, right? And I cover a ton of stuff in there. So hang tight and that'll be coming up shortly. All right, Nick, I bought the A7 IV to shoot music videos and have a hybrid camera. I'm slowly starting to hate the cropping at 60 frames. Pretend like money isn't a problem. Would you choose A7S III or FX3? FX3, unless you need the EVF. Because this body, which is the same as the FX30, is just incredible. So I think you'll be really, really happy with it. And the fact that you can do stuff like add my LUTs onto it and have false color. Things like that are really fun. Oh boy, I'm not going to say one is better than the other. I would say if you're starting from scratch when it comes to editing, which is the question as I realize my microphone. Why am I'm slowly drifting off of center. I don't know why that is. If you're starting from scratch, I would say probably DaVinci Resolve. If you want to work with a ton of people, Premiere, because Premiere is still used by a ton of people. And then I use Final Cut because it's just native and it's fast. And for YouTube style of content, I think the way Final Cut works is really conducive to our workflows. Good questions. Good questions. All right, Ben, I shoot in the Pocket 4K and need to expand my lens kit without much budget. Do you recommend any vintage lenses? Absolutely. You can throw a speed booster on there and go with anything. You know, the old Russian stuff is great if you want, you know, some character. Those are really affordable. Canon FD lenses are also really good. Nikon lenses are good. So yeah, there's a lot you can get into. Or, I mean, there's companies making really good manual lenses like Mikey for Micro Four Thirds. That's really affordable, and they're brand new cinema lenses, so that's fun. All right, what else we got? Love from the UK. I'm getting into wedding videography and need help building a cage for my GH5. Any recommendations? Building out a cage. Yeah, so pick a cage brand. There's a ton of them out there, especially for the GH5. Get a top handle on there, and then Bob's your uncle. You can add all kinds of crazy stuff to that setup. Do you think Panasonic is finally inching towards the perfect camera now that their autofocus is getting good? Fantastic question. Good to see you again, Coalition Gaming. I would say yes, definitely closer. I do wonder if we look at history, I have a feeling they'll be leapfrogged by someone else in some other category. That said, it's so good that they're doing phase autofocus now, and we know they're going to improve it. That's what Panasonic does, right? Is get better and better with their, you know, their firmware stuff and improving the cameras, which is great. But yes, definitely closer. Okay. Do you have a thought about rig with a single power bank power source for all gear? Yes, if you search for perfect camera rig, you'll come across a video I did where I pretty much did that. And it's wonderful, using V-mount batteries to power everything. Do you recommend the Sony FE1.4 or the Sigma 1.4 for a hybrid shooter? I'm going to say, when at all possible, stay native. So I'm finding in general Sony glass on Sony cameras probably a better way to go if you can afford it. Yeah, that's what I would probably say. Oh boy, what's the difference shooting with ARRI, RED, etc. when 90% of the content is watched on a cell phone? I mean, if you're asking the question, I would say it doesn't. Just grab a camera and go. The more you dig into it, it's more about workflows, right? So sure, I could shoot this on my iPhone, but taking my phone, putting it in this teleprompter, powering it, finding a way to hit record, not very helpful. So workflows are a big one. It's not necessarily image quality, although that is significant. Okay, we answered that question. What's up? Lighter. Hey, Caleb, good evening. What do you think of having a V-mount battery being the bottom of your rig to avoid blocking the camera screen? You could. It just makes... I don't like top-heavy cameras, you know? When you're holding a camera and there's like this much weight, it's just not very conducive. That said, Tilta does make some really cool battery mounts that go underneath the camera, and you can check those out. So that is Tilta makes those. Bigger, yep, we already did that. Can you recommend a Sony Canon camera under $800? A used Canon RP, and that's good for like content creatory stuff. And if you're more cinematography and you want really good image quality and don't care about autofocus, the Sony F3 cinema camera. It's around $800. And I've done a video on that you can check out. Will you be collaborating with fellow YouTubers this year? I'm hoping to bring them on to these live streams. But when it comes to collabs, I mean, I love that kind of stuff. It's just, I'm just trying to get a video out a week, and doing more stuff like that usually takes a lot more work. That said, I'm not against it at all. And it'd be a lot of fun for sure. Where would you bring the Sony Mini DV deck to get repaired? Oof, I don't know, Mike. Anyone know? Anyone have good recommendations for that kind of stuff? What's the best camera to shoot product videos on under $500? Not impressed with the Canon T3i. That's a tough budget. I would recommend saving a little more. But if you had to, I mean, you might be able to get a Canon M50, but that's not going to be that much better than a Canon T3i. Sometimes I feel like the only person using Blender for 3D modeling. Anyone else? I hear ya. That software makes me crazy, though. G7 Guide is great. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Feeding model. Oh, look at all this 3D printing stuff. I love it. Great info. Just printed my first piece. I'm new to 3D printing. Well, welcome. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Man, 3D printing is just the best. Lutz for Canon C-Log2. C-Log2 gives higher dynamic range. Yes, I am working on that as well. The Logichin. I'm trying to get your name. It's a tongue twister. But yes, that can definitely happen in the future. And maybe I'll add it to a Canon log LUT pack that's just all of the versions. But I started with 3 because I had the Canon R7 in, and that only is C-Log3 as well as a lot of these cameras from Canon. But yes, C-Log2 inbound. Hey, can you do a video? Let's do the video explaining your workflow. Good to see you again, Melvin. And yes, that's inbound. What do you think of having the V-mount battery? Oh, we already talked about that. Regular viewer, what would be your suggestion to get around the fact that you can't use custom white balance in M1, M2 buttons on the Sony A7S III? I mean, for me, for that scenario, well, the way I consider using those custom modes is something like this, where my lighting is not going to change at this desk. So that's where I use that setting, where I set it to M1 or M2 or whatever, or C1, C2. Otherwise, you could set it to Kelvin and then program a button to quickly change Kelvin. And that allows you to quickly warm up, cool down without, you know, it sucks, right? Hopefully they fix that, but that's probably your best bet, is set it to Kelvin, then save the mode. That way, if you need to change your white balance, you can just quickly, you know, use color temperature. Question, do I have to do a CST when converting log to black and white? CST, what am I missing there? Now that Panny has introduced AF, what do you hope for the S1-2 and S1H2? All the stuff that we would expect, but just get rid of the limitations and crops, right? I just want to have good autofocus all the time, high frame rates, no crops. And, you know, if they want to really go nuts, figure out a way. I know it's hard, but figure out a way to do ND. Why do you never talk about the ZV-E10? You know, it's an 8-bit camera, but it is a good option for the money. But it sits at that weird price range. A lot of people, yeah, for around $1,000, I think that's a good option. How to get good quality from a Robo Redmi 9? I'm not sure what that is. Any recommendations for lapel mics? I want to get with the Zoom H1N and maybe go with the Rode Go 2 when I get that. Recommendation for lapel mics. Honestly, with the Rode, I really like the Rode one. Just the basic Rode Lav. I think it's, what is it? Rode Lav Go, something like that. I've been really happy with them. So, and they have a couple now. So I would say that's probably a good way to get things kicked off. Authentic. What's up, Ben? Good to see you, boss. Everyone should check out his channel. Lots of goodies over there. Oh boy, I'm behind. I better catch up here. Kevin. What's up, Kevin? Was having a huge issues editing video in Final Cut on my M1 Max. Interesting. Studio, I was able to completely fix it by reformatting my external hard drive. Oh, yep. Interesting. That's good to know. Good to know, Kevin. Thank you for that. And Husky Arts 20 CHFs from Husky Arts. Thanks for the answer. My mind's been running in circles around that white aesthetic. So cool. Really gives the techie BTS vibe, which I love coming from 3D printing without textures. It's so cool. Well, thanks, man. Thank you for the donation. Or lady. And yes, 3D printing. Big fan. Personally prefer your camera gear reviews over others. Your observations tend to be more practical in the real world application. Thank you for that. I do appreciate it. Yeah, if I cared more, I don't know. It's so funny. Like, everyone cares about cameras. Like, cameras are the thing. And for whatever reason, they're fine, and I think they're cool. But I get hung up on other stuff. Like, what's on that bench over there, you know, is really nerdy. And it's going to be, I think this year, going to be talking about it. But no one really cares about it. But, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that I'm just more into, which, you know, that's fine. And, yeah, I feel like more and more, hilariously, I'm just like, why make a review when Gerald and Dunn does such a good job covering everything? But I appreciate what you're saying, and I do get it, right? I think it's great to have different perspectives because, you know, you can cover the specs of a camera and its functionality and its weaknesses, but when it comes to recommending that or not to specific people, I think that's where it gets really interesting. For example, I don't think the S5 is up to snuff for working professionals. Like, you know, I'm not going to say I'm not a professional because I feel I am and I do this full time, but I wouldn't feel comfortable using that camera for my workflows because it's just not reliable enough. Compared to Sony, which has been incredibly reliable and super rock solid. Now, that could totally change over time, and I expect it to. I think Panasonic is going to really start to dial that in continually over time. But, you know, that's an example of what we're talking about, right? I may say that, someone else may think differently, and we can, you know, have that discussion, and all that's wonderful. Love it. Okay, thanks for all the answers. I've been waiting for a long time to catch you on one of these and ask you a bunch of questions, so thank you. Of course. Is AI coming for video soon? Oh boy, I do think it is, and I can't wait. It's just a matter of time. Once computers are fast enough to process in real time, or, you know, 24 frames per second, I can't wait to, say, punch into a computer or a keyboard or tell my camera, you know what, I want to cook 1970s lens bokeh. And even though it's not possible, set it to f0.50 or something crazy. Or add some flares from an anamorphic lens. You know, just AI will be able to do that stuff. Or, you know, change this entire background and give me Rembrandt lighting or flat lighting or Apple white background lighting, and it'll just happen. Then it's all your imagination. If you can think it then it's possible. That's really exciting. Is the upgrade to the S5, S2 a no-brainer for you? 100%. If you're going to stick with Panasonic, no question. That said, I would say go for the X, right? Because you're getting so much for that camera. Starting a film studio in the Midwest, large facility building film sets, recording booths, theater and office space, looking for ideas, revenue besides clients and space rentals. That's outside of my expertise. Talk to people in the area, because if no one in the area is interested in using it, then probably shouldn't put it in, right? That's cool, man. That sounds really fun. What's up, Ellis? Or Elias? Do you think full-frame sensors are overhyped? And if so, what will the future of that be? I mean, I like big sensors, but there are pros and cons. I do think they're overhyped. Like this camera right here, the FX30 is incredible. Depending on how things shake out, it's tempting for me to switch to all these just because they're fantastic. So, yeah, they're overhyped. Hopefully we see more crop sensors because that brings the cost down, which is awesome. Food Life Tech, what are you excited for in 2023? Good to see you, by the way, again. You changed your name, didn't you? I don't remember that, the Food Life Tech being a thing. All right, so excited for 2023. Let's see as I sip coffee because I'm out of water, which is not a good thing to do on a live stream. I'm excited to make more stuff and do more setups. So some of you may remember, 2019, 2020, some in 2021, a lot of like custom builds. So I've got several of those planned, which I'm excited for. And getting back to teaching more, less gear reviews, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, gear wise, it's all really good right now. So I think this year is going to be kind of getting back to what I enjoy more. And last year, we talked about it multiple streams over, but I was kind of burned out on, making videos. But I'm getting back into it and getting more excited about some future content ideas. So, yeah, a bit messy of an answer, but that's kind of what I got. How about you guys? What are you excited about for 2023? Gear, perspective, technologies, all that fun stuff. I'm not sure how to fix the ground loop to clean up my cabling. Any suggestions? So I would say unplug everything and just slowly start adding things back. Try different power sources, That stuff is crazy. For a while, moving my mouse, I heard a buzz coming from my CalDigit dock. So there's all kinds of funky gremlins and all this stuff. All right. What do you think of having a V-mount? Oh, we talked about that already, Lighter, earlier in the stream. Hey, Caleb, what is a good setup for short films that is simple? You talking about cameras? Rode, hey, what's up, Ben? Rode Video Mic NTG into A7S III. What's your mic and camera audio input numbers? That's a good question. I mean, it's going to depend on if you're vlogging. Do you have the microphone? Is the camera across the room? For me, I'm going to say Video Mic NTG. So set that to about middle, right? So like 5 on the NTG. Set the camera to 1 tick past 0 and do some tests, right? So you turn up the microphone to the correct level, record there. If it sounds a little hissy, turn the microphone down, turn the camera up, and find a happy medium. But usually having the camera preamps as low as possible and using the microphone's preamp or dial is going to produce better sound. Usually. Let's see what else we got here. Would you buy an A7 III in 2023? I would not, unless your budget was at a A7 III, but I would probably even still save and try to get something else because the 8-bit color is just rough. For stills, absolutely, great camera. Faux or real plants? That is a fake plant, but because I'm married to the lady that I'm married to, there's a lot of real plants in the house. But there's not a lot of windows in this space, so I try to, avoid real plants because they would just die. Unless it's a snake plant, which I know because of my wife, that would probably be fine. Good day, will the Amaran 60X or 60C be enough to start shooting videos on YouTube? It depends on the camera. Oh, you're using fast lenses, A7 IV. Yeah, you're totally fine. You're going to want to diffuse those, though, in my opinion. So I think that'd be enough juice, especially if you're wide open. Better to expose vlog to the middle 42 or to the right. Advice on the internet, it seems 50-50. 100% Jim, overexpose that. 100%. The way my LUTs, you know, you can use whatever LUTs of course you want, but I actually in my LUT packs include LUTs that reduce exposure by half a stop, stop and a half, and 2 stops. So you can just put it in the camera and boom, you can see what it's going to look like, and that'll force you to overexpose. So yeah, that's my favorite setup, is exposing about a stop and a half, sometimes 2. All the footage I film here in the studio for Sony, I just put on the 2-stop LUT and use that for my exposure. How would you, thank you for the kind words, OG. How would you recommend someone start getting paid for doing video? How should one reach out for what types of work? So, I mean, I don't know where you're approaching this, if you're trying to just help people film videos or you want to be producer, director, all that. Just get involved in your community, find all the other people making videos and offer to help them, work for them. I would say that's probably where you should start. It's hard to, or start working on a reel, just start doing projects, even if they're for free. Build a portfolio, have a clean website with a bunch of great work. And eventually you get to the point where as you're working with people, word of mouth takes over, and then you're done with the whole website thing. In your training course, you mentioned recording raw and Atem Ninja 5 has noise and other challenges. How do you resolve this? The Ninja is driving me nuts. Yeah, I'm honestly, Paul, for that reason, exactly, I just recommend don't shoot raw unless it's something where you really need it. Usually if you're shooting raw, it's not necessarily to change settings. It's more, you're getting more visual oomph. You can do a lot more with the color. But if you're having to spend a ton of time denoising stuff, just shoot in camera. They're so good these days, these cameras. So yeah, I would say skip ProRes RAW. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Recording a concert and fear the spiking audio, setting the gain down too low. Unfortunately, too low. How can I raise beyond plus 12 dB? So you can't. I'm not sure I understand your question because you probably don't want to go over 12 dB. What are you using to record? Usually when it comes to recording audio, 0 is, it's the same as having pure white in video. It's overexposed. You can't go higher than that. I don't know if you're talking about tech where it reads in positive dB. I'm not sure. So Roman, if you asked me this question, which you are, better to wait for the S5 or 5S2. You're talking about the S5 2X. That's what we're probably mentioning. Or buy the A7 IV. I'm going to say buy an A7 IV. You can get a used A7 IV. An A7 IV for around $2,000, $2,100, and that's the same price or a little cheaper than the S5 2X, just because it's really rock solid. I love the dial. Switch over to stills mode. It's just a reliable camera that is reliable, and for me, that's really important. So, as of today, if you ask me this question 6 months, a year from now, that may be different. All right, so we're gonna try to speed things along here because soon I'm gonna be heading over to Jem's channel. Hey Caleb, if you had to choose a monitor right now, which would be the one you pick? I've watched your monitor comparison video and was wondering maybe there's a new one. So there's nothing new I would recommend. I would pretty much stand by what I said in that video. I know OC, that brand OC, and Portkeys have come out with newer monitors, so check those out. But in general, yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, I believe I missed. Oh, what's up, Jason? Good to see you, brother. Howdy, howdy. Everyone should check out his channel. Good stuff. Oh my gosh. As I'm scanning through, I'm just seeing familiar faces. Scott, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's see. Somewhere in here, I know there is a super chat, and I want to address that. 250 euros. Hello, hello from Greece. Well, hello. Good to see you, Gum TV. Okay, was that the one I'm thinking of that popped up? I think so. Mr. Camera Junkie, what's going on? Okay, so I'm jumping further down here because I'm a little bit behind. We'll go for a couple more minutes here. I'm just going to start at the bottom since I'm hopelessly behind. Love your videos, A74 guy. Great, thank you so much there, Alex. Is the Canon M mount dead? I think it is. I mean, I don't know why would they pursue that, but they also don't have a lot. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of reason for them to pursue that. Just milk off, milk selling whatever they have left. But I could be wrong. All right, what do we got? Finally caught you live. What's up? Love darts. I need to check out your channel. I've been recently thinking about getting into darts. A buddy of mine turned me onto it. Love your videos. Wondering what do you think of the Cine EI on the FX30? Is it good enough to use without LUTs color grading? I mean, if I still stick by, if you're not using, I think everyone should use S-Log. And, it's not hard to get a LUT dialed in. So I would still stick with that traditional route. That said, it's up to you. If you're happy with what you're getting out of it. Are you saying you don't like color grading at all? Because you could bake in a LUT. You could make your own in DaVinci Resolve and do that. I like also just turning picture profiles completely off, or using S-Cinetone is a really good alternative as well. Want to film YouTube food channel for my budget is around the Panasonic G100, but I also thinking about getting the EOS M, which to get. I'm not familiar with the G100. EOS M50, if possible. M50, that would be a good starter camera. The G7 from Panasonic, if you want to stick Panasonic, is also a good option. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it much. Recommendations for a good LED key light around 150. What is the Amaran 100D at? I think that's around 150. I would say probably that light. Would you switch to Resolve? If I had enough time on my hands, but probably not. Just because I'm old and tired and learning new software. But, I see myself doing that someday, I suppose. Do you have a good recommendation for a budget-friendly teleprompter? Yes. Shoot. I don't know if I have a link to this one. I think I have a link to this one. Actually, yeah, the favorite things I bought this year, that video, which is only a couple videos old on my channel, I talk about my teleprompter I'm using right now. It's a 16-inch. Otherwise, Glide Gear makes a good one that I've used for many years. Yeah, dig it. Panasonic BGH1 versus FX30. What would you choose? FX30. GH5S still worth it in 2023 for the right price, and if you are okay with its feature set. And let's see. I think, given the time, now let's go a little further. Let's go a couple more questions here. Good grief, you guys are just pounding out the questions. Lots and lots of good questions. What is the biggest difference? I'm sorry. What is the biggest octabox you would go for? I mean, my thing is I try to go as big as possible. I know you're using a small space, so another thing you could look into is LED light mats, because they're, the footprint's way smaller. Softbox, from the back of the light to the front, tons of space, right? LED mats, much smaller. So you could look at a Teletech, you could look at Amaran's version of that. Otherwise, I really like, let's do some shopping real quick. Let's go, let's see, how am I going to do this? Let's go here. I'll blow this up full screen. We're going to go to B&H. Whoops. There we go. Oh, what do they call them? What is it called? It's an impact. Something bank? No. Lux Bank. That's what it is. Lux Bank. Banks with an X. That's cute. Large. This is my current favorite softbox, and it's 89 bucks. Now it doesn't quickly pop, so you dismantle, so you have to build it, but it's just the right size. 48 inches. That's 4 feet by 3 feet here, and I found this just to be a fantastic size. So 89 bucks. They have different sizes here if you're looking at something smaller. I'm going to work on a video where I talk about this because I just find it's overall just a really, really nice size to work with. Depth is still fairly significant, but I would probably go with that, if I'm honest here. And we have a super chat, $5. Thanks for everything, Caleb. Your video guides have been so helpful. Well, thank you, Phil. Really appreciate the donation, the kind words. Yeah, and Samantha, good to see you as well. When is the FX lens video for the FX30 dropping? That's next week. Actually have some of the lenses here, and really looking forward to talking about it. The lens options get crazy wide open and affordable when you're working with a crop sensor. That's another reason to love crop sensors. You can go full frame or do crazy stuff like a 13mm f1.4. So that's wonderful, wonderful stuff. Mr. Hensler, thank you for the kind words. Budget slider recommendation. Ooh, I haven't been in the slider game in a while or really checked any of that stuff out. Budget slider, I would have to guess something from China. I'm sure Amazon has a lot of options. But yeah, unfortunately I don't have a good answer for you, just because I haven't checked those out. Please answer my question. You skipped it twice. Okay, Alex. In your perfect rig video, you hacked battery of the tilt of focus handle. Will you please make a video show us how it's done? Probably not, but shoot me a DM or something somewhere, and I'll see if I can get you a photo. In short, I took a battery a dummy battery, and just cut a slot for the cable to escape through the bottom of the handle. So that's really all it is finding a dummy battery that'll work, and you should be good to go. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am dropping a link in the chat. That link will take you to another YouTube channel where I'm going to be live in 10 minutes from now. I'm going to have a drink. We're going to sit back, talk about cameras, really anything, and it's just going to be me and Jem. So I would love it if you guys join me over there, and we'll keep this party rolling. Thank you guys so much for the great questions. You guys have, oh, there you go. I have footage Shark Mini for the slider answer from James. It should be a good time. So really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for hanging out, for the support, for the kind words, for the donations. Let's try to keep this up as many Wednesdays as we possibly can. And I hope you all have a wonderful start to 2023. And we'll see you guys over on the other stream. Again, I dropped the link in the chat, and see you guys over there.